I'm Shine Hawk Waters, and today I would like to tell you the story of how I became an animal communicator, or my understanding of how that all happened. I was living in Huntington Beach, and I moved back to my home state of Colorado in 2020 during the pandemic. While I was in Huntington Beach, a good friend of mine lost her dog. Her dog got out, and that was the first experience I had with an animal communicating with me. Her dog would let me know where she was and why she's doing what she's doing, and some things that she'd like to see different at home before she comes back home. And when I shared this with my friend, she wasn't really having it. She was not about that, and continued to do everything in her power to find her dog. And her dog was gone for 88 days in Southern California. Meanwhile, I've already moved back to Colorado, and the dog still would send me messages occasionally, just checking in and letting me know how she's doing. And towards the end, she was letting me know that she was getting really tired, and her intention was soon to go ahead and get caught. And so that was happening, but like kind of on a lower level, if that makes sense. It was sort of in the back of my mind, and it wasn't totally received by my friend. And so I was just interested in it, and very interested in her dog being okay and safe, and all that. But the experience was after, 2018-19 was a huge spiritual awakening for me. And it actually started a few years before that, but the culmination of everything happened in 2019 when I went and got certified as a psychic medium and left the professional life of being a real estate agent and previously an insurance agent to pursue my passions and to give in to those passions. But that's a whole nother story I'll tell on a different video. Anyway, so I'm already doing weird, doing out of the box. And so when her dog was talking to me, and when I first met her, I guess when I first met her dog, she was a rescue dog from a meat market out of country. And like this download came through, and she told me about what she'd experienced and what she'd seen, and feeling kind of confused about where she was right now, and started trembling. And my friend's like, "What are you doing to my dog?" So, okay, fair enough. But I had this special connection with her dog. And her dog was very much special needs because of all the trauma that the dog had incurred. So flash forward, I'm in Colorado. I'm newly back in Colorado, and via some social media, I wanted to go see my friend's horse rescue ranch. We had spent time in real estate together and had talked a lot about real estate, relationships, and things like that. But I hadn't, completed the full circle with her about talking about anything spiritual. But I felt this pull to go see her horse ranch. And it was about a 45-minute drive from where I was newly living back in Colorado. And as I was meditating that morning, this black horse came to me in my meditation. And I remember thinking, well, okay, I just accept, all the stuff in love and light that continues to unfold and happen with the spiritual work. And the horse came to me so clearly, like nose to nose, something I'll probably always remember. And was, again, like these downloads, or how the animals started communicating with me. It was almost like a file of where the horse had been, where he had been, how he had been treated, and was treated awful. I mean, just horribly treated, beaten, and where he was now at my friend's rescue ranch. He was relatively new, and he was not sure what was going on, and he was not comfortable. He was not sure, who to trust, if anyone, and just generally feeling very skittish and scared. And I thought, well, that was very clear. And so off I went later that morning to the rescue, and the drive was so amazingly beautiful. I went from Golden, Colorado out to Elizabeth, Colorado, and it was just so gorgeous. The whole horse thing honestly slipped my mind. And when I pulled in, I had a feeling my friend would be leaving. And so it's a huge place, and there's a bunch of horses and a bunch of black horses. And so I pulled around to where I felt like she might be, and she was just getting ready to go home and feed her pigs, etc. And had a friend with her, and said just to make myself at home and get my horse therapy on. And that's what she does, equine therapy with her horses, are trained to help people heal from trauma as she rescues them. It's really, really a beautiful operation that she has. And if you want her information, she's a great cause. You can DM me for that. Anyway, she leaves, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go where my feet take me. And I began walking to, like I said, it was acres of property and tons of horses. And so I followed my nudge and walked directly to this horse that I had seen without really realizing it. And this is a huge horse, and I had a pony briefly as a kid, and I spent, a little bit of time around horses, but really at that time had no familiarity. No, I don't know what horses do and don't do and what to do around horses or any of that. And so I walked up to this huge black horse, and actually I approached the stall the area beside him initially, and I could feel these vibrations coming from these rescue horses. I'm like, this is really interesting. And then I just went to the next place and looked up, and it was him. And I was awestruck by the size of this horse and his magnificence. And he immediately started repeating the same information that I had received in the meditation about how he'd been treated and not feeling good about where he was, etc. And his eyes, the skin around his eyes were crinkling, like he wanted to cry. It was very emotional. And he was just looking at me. There was nothing audible coming out. It was just, again, like this file of downloaded material, and then seeing his expression as he's relaying this to me telekinetically, just passing the information from his mind into my mind, or probably more like his soul into mine. And I was just, I have goosebumps right now thinking about it. I was awestruck. And so I was given a message to relay to him. I failed to mention that earlier in the video. In that same meditation, I was told to let him know that he's safe, who my friend is, what she's doing around there, etc. And so that he could have a level of peace. And so after he shared with me, then in person, I was able to pass on the message that I'd received where he's concerned, from my guidance, from my spirit guides. And he seemed to just like relax a little bit in that moment. And then he reached over and he just started nibbling the front of my shirt up and down, just kind of like pulling at my shirt with and he's big, he's really big. And I found out later those are horse kisses. I didn't know that at the time. And so I walked around, and some of the horses were like, hey, look at my leg, and just kind of, generally, it's a rescue, so some general grumblings about little aches and pains. And I thought, this is really interesting. Nothing like this had ever happened to me before. And so I was by myself, and I just tooled around and visited, all the horses. I think I touched, or got in front of most of the horses that she had there. And then I thought, I want to tell her what happened and ask her about what the background on this horse is. And so I found her in the barn, and I was able to meet up with her and say, hey, you don't know this about me, and this is a brand new day for me. And she said, yes, we do weird here. and and she wasn't exactly sure about the horse's care previously, except that the people who had the horse were notorious for being very abusive. And what I had described that he had mentioned, the horse had mentioned, matched the way that she feels he was treated based on his behavior. And I understood that the plan was she rescued him because the plan was to put him down before he killed someone because he had become very violent, which was not my experience with him at all. And I had no knowledge of that. I just got the horse kisses, right? So I thought, oh, this is very amazing. This is really magical. Well, I continued to tool around a little bit more after that, and I believe that was in the same time when I believe I have this right. It's been a couple years that my friend had mentioned to someone else who has her horses at the rescue. She was allowing her horses to kind of board there. They weren't rescue horses. They were horses she had purchased a couple years ago. And she'd mentioned this story to her. And so she approached me. Oh, that's right. That's right. That did happen because my friend wanted me to hop in her truck and give me a tour of the whole property, and she was expanding with this vision of creating a retreat space and doing a lot of magical things. And one of the people in the car has become a really, really good friend of mine, and I enjoyed her equine therapy firsthand. And my friend Carrie, and then the other lady in the car heard the story and asked me on the spot if during the tour, we were just all crammed into the truck, last minute thing. And she asked me if I would take a look at her horse. And I'm like, sure, lady. I mean, I don't know what just happened today. So why not, right? Like, nothing to lose here. And so we walked over, and this is an important part of the story. So we walked over to where her horses were after we got done with the tour. And I hadn't actually said hello to those horses previously. It's a deep space where they were. They had their own fenced off like mini lot that was really deep. And so they must have been at the back of the lot when I first walked by, but she had these two horses and she was worried about her female horse because she warned me that, you know, the horse won't come to anyone but her. And she's had the horses a couple years. And just not to have my feelings hurt if she is not responsive or won't have anything to do with me. And so we walk up to the gate or to the fence line, and both horses come running over. They see their mom, and her horse that is supposedly very shy and not about people at all, came right up to me, like, and put her nose right over the fence at me. And her horse mom was like, what is happening? Like, she's never done that. So I thought that was really intriguing. She had, her coat was in rough shape. She had like, as I recall, it was like hives or something she just kept breaking out, and all these doctors, I mean, the vets had seen her, and she's been trying all these different products, and just her behavior being really sort of gun shy and reluctant, where people were concerned and not feeling good and not happy. Like there's something clearly wrong with her, is how she'd explained it to me. And so in walks the girl and comes right over the fence, like I'd mentioned. And it was just one of those most beautiful experiences. She began to download to me that she was grieving and that she missed her best friend. And so I'm just relaying to her horse mom what's happening in the moment, that she really misses this best friend, that she had been, that she pastured with this friend for years, and it was as close as like a daughter, but it wasn't her daughter. It was like a best friend, like a sister, like this union was so close, and that she left suddenly, and that she doesn't know what happened, and she misses her terribly. And that's basically it, that she was grieving. And I could sense that her her horse she was talking about was no longer here, but in spirit. And so, and as I'm relaying this to her horse mom, her owner, she wasn't familiar with the background, but she knew a way to, make some calls and check. And so I asked the horse if she would feel comfortable with me to see if I could bring her horse friend in spirit through to have that healing message, to be able to say goodbye. And the horse said, not this time. Like, she was kind of sassy. And she's like, no, not this time. If you come back, I want to get to know you a little bit better. I want to feel safe with you. And I thought that's completely fair. And so I promised the horse and her mom that I would come back. And so I did. I came back the next week. And it was an amazing experience. So I came back the next week, and her mom wasn't there. She wasn't at the rescue then. And so I walked up to the fence, and she came running over and put her nose right on my chest. And she gave me permission to bring her friend through in spirit. But before she did that, she wanted to release her grief. I believe that's what happened first. It was very mind-blowing. So she started by looking at me in the eyes, and all of a sudden I just started crying because she was transferring this extreme amount of grief. Like, it was an overabundance of grief. And so she was like channeling it into me, or passing it telekinetically into me. And it was passing through my body and going down to Mother Earth. And I was so overwhelmed with emotion. I with her grief, I started crying her tears, just silently crying her tears. It was such a moving moment. That did happen first, as I recall, because then after that, and that she felt lighter in the moment, she gave me permission to bring her friend through. And so I gave it a go, and her friend came galloping right up in spirit, and she passed on different information, a game that they used to play with an apple, some pretty specific things, and mentioned, that she had gotten sick early. It wasn't her time to go, and that it was sudden, and that it was her time to go, but it's not her friend's time to go. And she wants her to know she's going to see her again, and to be happy in the time that she has right now with her. And so that was amazing. Like, that was so beautiful. And the horse she was just so much more lightened up. Like, she just was changed in that instant. And I did that privately, just with the horse. And I had brought a friend with me, and she was down the fence a bit. So she was watching from afar, but she wasn't involved. I think I probably freaked her out a little bit too. But it was like amazing to be able to do that. And then we're getting ready to leave. Now, the story, just bear with me because I'm coming to the end here, but it's a good one. So I'm getting ready to leave after that happened. I'm walking to the car, and magically the horse's mom pulls up. And it was so beautiful because she had done some research in the past week and was able to confirm that, yes, she did pasture with this other female horse. They've been together for a while. The horse got sick abruptly, and she went off, and they had to, they put her in the trailer, and she never came back. And so it aligned with all of the information that the grieving horse had so beautifully and respectfully imparted to me. So I thought, wow, this is really cool. And I'm not interested in like telling you why your little Morkie pees on the, carpet or something. I'm not interested in that. But, with the way it started with rescue animals, and animals not feeling safe, and animals wondering what's going on and feeling confused, I just thought, wow, this is such beautiful work. And honestly, I haven't really known exactly what to do with it. So if you see this video and you have an animal that needs some help, please contact me. I would love to continue doing this work and figuring out what shape it takes. Okay, so my mind's blown on the way to the car, and then I get in the car with my girlfriend, and I'm driving, and I look at the clock. I have this feeling the dog in Huntington Beach has been found. She allowed herself to be found. She passes on this message to me. I'm getting goosebumps on my goosebumps. So the dog from Huntington Beach in my car after this horse experience, it was phenomenal, happens. And I look at the time, and I want to say it was like 3:23 Colorado time. And my friend that's in Huntington Beach is from Colorado. Although we didn't know each other in Colorado, we met in California, but she's familiar with, Colorado time. So anyway, I have this unshakable feeling that she's allowed herself to be found and caught, and that she's safe now. She's in captivity with my friend, and so my California friend. And so I'm just, and I've got another girlfriend, kind of a new friend in the car, and we're talking about what's going on here. And so I get home, and I see that I have a text from my friend in California, and she's found her dog. They were able to capture her dog. She's very skittish. She would run because of her traumatic background, the dog would. And so I texted back, "That's fantastic news. And was it at this time in Colorado that you found her?" And she's like, "That's exactly when we found her." And so that's my story of how animals started communicating with me. And it's just beautiful, sacred work. And I hope this is helpful for you, that this video goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do. Thank you for listening. Much love. And if this helps you or your animals in any way, that's what it's all about. Take good care.